Chief Researcher Lix's 6 fingers lifted the brown lock of hair from the illuminated table with an almost religious reverence. This simple organic structure, classified as human hair, had transformed his entire career. "Its molecular structure is incredible," he murmured, excitedly breathing through his small-pored gills. Under the laboratory's blue lights, each strand of the hair bundle revealed an impossibly complex microfiber network. How exactly do they produce this texture? One of his 3 eyes drifted to the different colors and lengths of hair samples at the other end of the table. Lix was one of the most talented material scientists in the Galactic Sciences Academy, but what brought his career to this point was actually a coincidence. 2 cycles ago, during a scientific observation mission to Earth, his mission partner Moore had suggested analyzing hair samples they collected from a human colony's waste system just for fun. "Just for entertainment," Moore had said. "Let's do a standard scan of this primitive species' organic waste." It was supposed to be a standard examination, but the results were anything but standard. The analysis of human hair had astounded the entire laboratory. How can such a simple organism produce something like this? Lix adjusted his microscopic sensors to examine the hair's structure more deeply. Human hair was one of the most durable natural fibers known in the galaxy, not only for its flexibility and resilience, but also for its almost impossible heat resistance. Imagine this simple strand preserving its structural integrity even in the lava lakes of Rigel 6, he whispered, blinking his 3rd eye. As Lix's team discovered, under certain conditions, human hair could manipulate the quantum networks that form the fabric of the universe itself. "The garments of the gods," Lix murmured, recalling an ancient axolotl legend. Perhaps it wasn't such a naive myth after all. This discovery went far beyond an ordinary laboratory report. Lix and his team had found something that would attract the attention of both greedy business interests and sinister military institutions. "I have a real discovery for the first time, Moore. The Galactic Council should see this material." His colleague did not share Lix's excitement. Or perhaps they shouldn't. Perhaps this is something only respectable scientists like us should examine. "Think about the value of this human hair." Moore's eyes gleamed more greedily with each word. Lix was no longer at the Galactic Sciences Academy. Now he was working in his own laboratory at a small trading center on the edge of Andromeda. The walls were filled with various hair samples from Earth: blonde, black, red, brown, gray, straight, wavy, curly. Each had been labeled, cataloged, and analyzed for its valuable properties. "We've forgotten who we are, Moore," Lix said to his former colleague, now his new business partner. "We were scientists, and now we're traders." Moore wasn't interested in Lix's moral dilemma. "The market is growing, Lix. The studio's latest models demand exactly the hair type we've specified, and the central worlds. Have you heard? Elder Honor Council member Drawl wants only our products for all his beards and wigs. We need to send a new shipping fleet to the human colonies." Moore, breathing rapidly, displayed various orders and client lists on the table. The supply-demand balance had made human hair almost as valuable as Krypton. With the growing market came complications. The trade of human hair remained in a legal gray area. Galactic trade laws prohibited trading body parts of intelligent species, but hair was technically classified as non-living waste material. "You know this isn't ethical, Moore," said Lix. "What would humans think if they knew we were collecting their hair?" Moore merely shrugged, his iridium-colored skin gleaming. "They already cut it off and throw it away. We're just recycling." Lix looked again at the samples on the illuminated table. It was time to make a decision. "You don't understand the true potential of human hair," he said, lowering his voice. "This isn't just a luxury fashion item for wealthy clients. This could change our technology." His fingers lifted the highest quality red hair sample and held it to the light. "Don't you see the molecular structure inside this strand? Even humans themselves aren't aware of what they're producing. This could stabilize the vibrations in interstellar engines, create nanofibers to enhance quantum communication, perhaps even—" He stopped, not daring to speak his final thought aloud. Moore looked at his partner skeptically. "Are you thinking of creating the galaxy's most durable military armor, or perhaps its most deadly weapons?" The silence in the room explained everything. "Is that why you left the Academy? All those ethical talks were just for show, weren't they? You've always wanted to make your own great discovery." Moore chuckled as he backed away, beginning to see the new and dark potential of their commercial empire. That same night, Lix saw the DNA structure of human hair in his dreams. In his dream, he walked through long corridors formed of hair strands, examining the complex molecular labyrinths within each strand. When he awoke, a new thought had formed in his mind. Perhaps it should be contact, not trade. Unlike Moore, Lix had always preserved his scientific curiosity. Humans weren't just primitive beings to be exploited for their waste products. They were complex biological systems producing this extraordinary material. "We need to truly understand them," he murmured. A few cycles later, Lix found himself traveling among human colonies. Officially, he was registered as a biological sample collection officer, but in reality, his purpose was much more complex. As the chief hair hunter, he settled in the largest human colony on Sterium 4. He studied humans' daily lives, their habits, and most importantly, how they cared for their hair. "No, you don't understand," he told Moore via his communication device. "Humans see their hair not just as aesthetic, but as part of their cultural identity. Some shape it according to their religious beliefs. This isn't just a waste product." Lix watched in fascination as humans performed their seemingly simple daily rituals. Their use of shampoo and conditioner, combing and brushing techniques, periodic haircuts, and even coloring processes all were extraordinary observations. Apparently, humans had developed complex care protocols, perhaps unconsciously, to maintain and strengthen the structural integrity of their hair. "Think about it more," he said to his partner. "A species evolutionarily produces an extremely valuable substance that constantly grows from their bodies, and they consider it completely normal." One day, Lix visited a place in the colony center called a hair salon. Thanks to his native camouflage, he closely observed the haircutting and styling rituals. As a female hairdresser was cutting a customer's long black hair, she asked, "Your hair is very healthy. What do you do for hair like this?" The customer smiled. "I only use natural materials. My mother taught me a special oil mixture recipe from India, a formula passed down through generations." Lix nearly jumped from his seat. Formulas passed down through generations? Was this a form of genetic engineering? As he deepened his research, Lix discovered that human hair was not uniform. Humans from different genetic backgrounds produced different hair types, each with unique properties. Some had extremely tight curls, a structure providing maximum tensile resistance. Others consisted of silky straight strands, perfectly reflecting light and exhibiting extraordinary electromagnetic conductivity. "Humans are unaware," he wrote in his journal. "They carry a treasure in their own bodies." His work in the colony made Lix's operation increasingly complex. He no longer obtained hair solely through waste collection. As he better understood human behavior, he developed more sophisticated approaches. Under the guise of organic cosmetic research, he began seeking volunteers for hair donations. Paying humans to sell their hair meant stepping out of the legal gray area into more ethical territory. "We shouldn't tell them what we're doing with it," Moore warned. "If they learn its true value in the galactic market." However, Lix's research hadn't yet led him to his main discovery. One night, while working with samples, he accidentally exposed a lock of hair to a high-intensity ion beam. Under normal conditions, this process would instantly vaporize any organic matter, but the human hair didn't vaporize. Instead, it began to glow with a bright blue light and affected all the energy systems in the laboratory. Lights flickered, equipment went haywire, and most surprisingly, Lix's communication device suddenly began receiving signals from distant systems, distances normally beyond the device's capacity. "Impossible," Lix whispered, his trembling fingers navigating the control panel. The hair strand was now behaving like a superconductor, but beyond any known laws of physics. Keratin, an ordinary human protein, had transformed into something entirely different under these conditions. Within minutes, the effect ended, but Lix's mind was still racing wildly. This changes everything," he said to himself. He reached for his communication device to call Moore, then hesitated. This discovery was too big, too dangerous. That night, Lix decided to deepen his off-protocol experiments. He exposed different hair types to varying intensities of ion beams. The results were astonishing. Red hair showed the strongest superconductivity properties, while black hair had the most durable structural integrity. Blonde hair offered incredible light transmission capacity. Gray hair behaved completely differently. demonstrating an ability to absorb and neutralize radiation. How did humans discover something like this? He asked himself. Or did evolution choose to develop this material in their bodies? Captivated by scientific curiosity, Lix decided to go one step further. To research human biology more deeply, he gained access to human genetic databases through a dark information exchange network. When examining the genes controlling hair formation, he was astounded once again. The gene sequence forming human hair looked more like a conscious design than a random evolutionary process. Certain amino acid sequences were aligned with mathematical precision that even the most advanced quantum computers in the galaxy couldn't fully model. Stunned by the magnitude of his discovery, Lix faced a major dilemma. He could use this knowledge to enhance his trade. As someone who knew that human hair had incredible technological applications under certain conditions, he could become one of the wealthiest beings in the galaxy. Or he could take this information to the Galactic Sciences Academy, propose direct contact with humans, and enable them to participate in universal technological advancement. However, this would mean they would learn the true value of their hair. Weeks later, during a tense argument, Moore exploded in anger. "You're talking nonsense, Lix," he shouted. "Contact humans, tell them what they possess. We can't risk an operation worth billions of credits because of your moral hesitations." Moore's eyes gleamed dangerously. "What if the galaxy prefers to trade with us instead of with humans? What if humans discover this material themselves one day?" "They already have," said Lix, softening his voice. He displayed a human engineering report on the screen. Human hair is being used to create composite materials in their world. A few human entrepreneurs have discovered the extraordinary durability of hair and started using it as a building material. But they're only scratching the surface. They know nothing about its quantum properties, its superconductivity. Not yet. To resolve their disagreement, Lix and Moore decided to take a radical step, inviting a human representative in a controlled environment safely. For a short time, they agreed. Through their connections in the human colony, they hired a young human student under the guise of a galactic cultural exchange program. Her name was Sarah, and she was an anthropology student. When Sarah arrived at the facility, she immediately caught both their attention. She had long, bright red hair. "Definitely the best example of our Series 12, Moore whispered excitedly. Sarah was settled into a workspace in the laboratory. Supposedly, she would study the cultural works of other species and write a thesis on galactic anthropology. However, the real purpose was to closely observe her hair and hair care routines. One evening, staying late in the laboratory, Sarah accidentally found the real hair samples. This is human hair," she said in astonishment. "And they're cataloged, labeled. Are you collecting hair?" Lix was forced to provide an explanation. "Yes, we collect human hair, but only for scientific research purposes. Your hair has extraordinary properties, Sarah. Properties unprecedented in the rest of the galaxy." Sarah's reaction was unexpectedly positive. "This is incredible. We never knew our hair was so valuable. How did you discover this? What kind of experiments did you conduct? Did you share the results with Earth?" Lix decided to confess the truth, at least part of it. "Your hair has extraordinary resistance to high temperatures, radiation, and mechanical stress. Also, under certain conditions, it exhibits incredible electromagnetic properties. We can establish legal and ethical frameworks for this," Sarah said excitedly. "Humans already cut their hair. If they knew its value, perhaps they would donate more or increase production." Moore couldn't believe this reaction. "So, you're not going to report us to the Galactic Ethics Committee?" Sarah laughed. "This is an opportunity for collaboration that could benefit both species." A week later, they decided to repeat the ion beam experiment with Sarah. This time, they would use a small lock of Sarah's living hair, a sample she had voluntarily provided. "If my theory is correct," said Lix, "living human hair will exhibit much stronger properties than dead samples." When the experiment began, the hair started glowing with a bright blue light. But this time, the light was much more intense. All the laboratory equipment suddenly activated. "Incredible," Lix whispered. "The hair is behaving like some kind of energy amplifier." But the energy level spiraled out of control. Alarms began to sound. "Shut it down," Moore shouted, but it was too late. The hair tuft had transformed into a ball of bright light, with energy waves filling the room. Just then, the bright light exploded, destroying half the laboratory. All three were at a safe distance, but the damage was extensive. "What happened?" Sarah asked in shock. Lix answered, "The molecular structure within the hair underwent a quantum-level reaction. This is beyond the known boundaries of galactic physics." After the incident, galactic security teams launched an investigation. "This changes everything," said Sarah. "Inside human hair, there's a power we don't yet fully understand. This isn't just a trade commodity, Lix. This could be a new energy source." Lix nodded, "But it's also very dangerous. In the wrong hands, it could become a weapon." Sarah leaned forward, a determined expression in her eyes. "Or it could be a new beginning, a true collaboration between humans and other species to research the potential of hair together." Lix contemplated this. This was the kind of scientific research he had dreamed of at the beginning of his career. Pure, open, collaborative. But is the galaxy ready? Ready to allow a primitive species like humans to possess such power? Sarah smiled, her red hair gleaming under the laboratory lights. "Perhaps the question is, are we ready? Not just humans, but all galactic species. Maybe this discovery can bring us together for something greater." Lix pondered Sarah's words. Human hair might not be merely a trade commodity or scientific curiosity, but a catalyst uniting the galaxy. A week later, Lix, Moore, and Sarah stood in front of the Galactic Sciences Academy. In their hands was a report containing all their research and findings. "Are you sure?" Moore asked. "This could change everything we know." Lix nodded. "The mystery of human hair is too great to belong to the property of a single species or company. This is a puzzle the entire galaxy needs to solve together." Sarah touched the cover of the report. It read, "The Impossible Resilience of Human Hair, the New Frontier of Galactic Science." "Perhaps the simplest things hide the greatest secrets," she said thoughtfully. "And perhaps real progress begins with sharing these secrets." Together, the three stepped through the Academy's doors with a discovery that would change the future of the galaxy.